when somebody's on top of you, grabbing your face, slamming you down, I don't know. You don't know what they're going to do next. When somebody who's way stronger than you is just controlling you. And I was just crying while typing, like just sobbing. And I was able to do that because, I worked for the family business. So I can just let it all out and type away. Literally one day I woke up and I said, fuck this.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd, and you're watching and listening to the Rhymes with Odd podcast. Today, our guest is Rachel Steffensmeier, coming all the way up from Lee County.
Ooh.
What's going on, Rachel?
Oh, nothing. Just, hanging out. Another day in paradise.
Awesome. So Rachel and I, we know each other from high school.
Yep.
Your oldest brother, Isaac, was in my grade, and I spent many a time at your guys' house growing up, and the fact we have basketball practice across the street. So.
Yep.
But Rachel has a very interesting story, lots of things with business, entrepreneurship, and also just your career path is very, very interesting. So I'm really excited that you are in the area, 3-hour drive coming up here. So really excited to have you on today.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So to give people a little bit of where you're currently at, we'll dig into your backstory. But for people that don't know who you are, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yep. So, like you said, my name is Rachel Steffensmeier. Currently, I am working full-time at the family business, and then I also started another business. It's called Subtle Impacts. So we are providing decorative weights for your at-home workouts.
Hence, this gift that she brought me, which is your primary weight, right? This is a 10, 15
so that
pounder?
one's actually... This one's 20 pounds. It's our best seller. It's more like a kettlebell, but like it functions just like your regular kettlebell, except for when you put it down after your workout, it now becomes a decor piece instead of just clutter on your floor.
This is so awesome. So you guys like basically invented this during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. We'll definitely dig into this. This is so cool. But this will be the newest addition to the Snod Media Group headquarters. If I can't get to the gym, I'll definitely be using this. So that's super great. Okay, so you're doing the business. You're also doing your own business on the side. You also shoot photos, right? You have a photography business too.
I do. I kind of forget about that just because it's something. It's not like my main thing that I do, but it is something that I do. This year will be my last year. I have one more wedding to go, and then I'm done shooting weddings and really just want to do stuff for like very close family and friends, not like a full-on business.
Sure. I'm the same way with my wedding business. I think my first year I did like 15 or 20 wedding videos, and then now I do like maybe 2 or 3 a year. It's just like people that request it, and every year I bump the price up more until people just stop asking me. So then if they say yes, it's like, okay, I'm getting paid enough to go. Like it's worth it. So totally get that. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. So to give the people a little backstory, I mean, I mentioned that we knew each other from high school, but take me back to like when you left Fort Madison to go to college. Like, where'd you go? What'd you study? What was that process like?
Yep. So I went to Truman State. It's in Kirksville, Missouri. It's kind of similar to Keokuk, I would say, if that gives you any idea of kind of what the town is like. But the university itself is very different. But yeah, so I went there. I switched my major like 8 different times. I think I started with like social sciences, and then I was like, okay, what career am I going to do with that? So then I did accounting. Like, okay, this is super boring, not for me. So I ended up actually getting an interdisciplinary degree, which is basically where you kind of make up your own major and you have to present it to the board of like, this is why I'm creating this major because you guys don't have it here. So mine was organizational studies. So it was a lot of business, social sciences, and just a lot of different disciplines combined.
Okay. So organizational
studies. Yeah.
Okay. What'd the board say? They say, no, you got to start over with college again.
They went with it. I don't know.
It's like the Accepted movie where they're like, we swear we're a college. It's like, no, you guys are living in like a mental hospital with a pool. And they're like, no, we're in college for sure.
Well, I based it around like, I wanted something that was like human resources. They didn't have HR, anything there, but they had like management. You could do business management classes. I'm like, well, I kind of want something that's a little more, I wanted the social sciences part of it. So I just kind of morphed business and the like psychology together.
Okay, sure. So you finish your 4-year Did you move back home? Like, what happened next?
Yeah, I did. Hold on, I'm going to start over.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, so I moved back home. I started working at a school. It's actually the same high school that I went to as like their marketing person. And like after a year, I'm really grateful for that experience. It was awesome, but it just felt really weird to be back at my high school. And I also just felt like I wasn't going to grow there. I mean, it was good. It was a good starter job. So I started looking around. Okay, I wanted to do something in marketing. Carly Nelson, it's like a construction company. So I live in like a very small area, as you know. So there's not a whole lot of opportunity. So even though it was a construction company, I was like, well, it's marketing, so like we'll go for it. So I was like getting my second interview, and my mom was like, well, wait a minute. Why don't you come work for the family business? And I was like, well, I mean, I've thought about that a little bit, but I don't want to like ruin our relationship. I don't want to like get into that and have like a horror story come out of it.
Like ruin your family happiness by working together.
Yeah. But we talked it over, and it's a 10-minute drive. I knew I would have a little bit more flexibility, and I do really love my mom, obviously. Who doesn't love their mom? But yeah, so I just took the risk and started working for the family business.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So to jump back to kind of the family business, because what is the family business for people that aren't listening?
Yeah. So my dad started the company back in 1982, I want to say. So it was like farm repair. He started doing small jobs like that, and then it morphed into, he just kept adding like building after building. And now we do more like mid to large scale manufacturing. So a lot of nothing super exciting, like dumpster. One of the product lines is literally dumpster.
Okay.
So like, yeah. So the company does a lot of different kind of steel manufacturing. Basically, people bring in different projects, and we
like custom fit. It's like welding, manufacturing, that type of thing. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So, and that's interesting because your mom was running the business. So walk me through a little bit, because she did not go into the business initially. So,
no.
So tell me a little bit about, like, in high school, your father got sick. So let's tell us a little bit about that and how that has influenced the business.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, my dad was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, which is basically, I think a lot of times people think that dementia is like, oh, it's like Alzheimer's and they're just like forgetting stuff. And it was very, very different than that. Like, he was not forgetting stuff. He was just becoming somebody else. Like, it was more of behaviors and doing weird things. And like, I don't know, a good example maybe would be like, he would make chicken, put it in the oven, not turn the oven on, take it out and start eating it. And I would be like, hey, Dad, like, that's not cooked. Like, we got to make sure it's cooked all the way. It's fine.
And he's eating raw chicken.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you can't do this. So there was a lot of like arguments, and it's hard because you see somebody like losing themselves and they're confused and they don't know why everybody is kind of arguing with them all the time. And it's like, we're not arguing with you. We just want to keep you safe and healthy. And yeah. So, I mean, looking back now as an adult now myself, I just can't believe that my mom went through that. Like, she had 5 kids. Her husband is dying, but he's not like dying in a hospital and she can just like go visit him. He's like, there was like years of he's not able to function, and he started this business, so he's at work like talking to his customers saying weird stuff. And a lot of people thought my mom was crazy when she was trying to explain that, like, no, I mean, because he wasn't different all the time in the beginning. Like, in the beginning, it was just every now and then he'd have one of those weird spells. But yeah.
So he was slowly becoming this other person. How many years did he live with that sickness before it took him?
So my mom and I have talked about this a lot. So she would say probably in 8th grade, when I was in 8th grade, that was probably when she started to see signs. And then I would say by my sophomore year, like, I wasn't allowed to have, not allowed, but I wouldn't have friends over my sophomore year going on because he would hit on them or do inappropriate things.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that his signs were most prevalent like the last 6 years. But I will say the last year, it really felt like he was. So at first, the disease takes a toll on your mind, and then eventually it does get to the body too. So he gained a ton of weight, and he wasn't really able to move around. His eyes looked kind of funky. But when you talk to him, I mean, he did always remember us, and like he wasn't necessarily weird at the end. He was more of just like tired and wouldn't really say a whole lot, but he just loved to be around us. So yeah, that last year was really I don't know, it was nice. It was nice to just have him like not have the battle so much anymore, because I think subconsciously had kind of accepted that he, like, at that point he was in the nursing home, accepted that, like, okay, I'm here, this is what's going on. So, yeah.
Right. No, I get that. And I think that had to be hard, because I know just his boisterous personality. Like, he'd just bust through the door and give you a big old bear hug and be like, hey, Ryan, how you doing? You know, just like, so to see someone, like you said, it's not just memory loss, it's you morph into this, person. I know my great-grandmother had dementia for 11 years.
Wow.
And she was like 97 pounds, like very skinny.
Yeah.
And just we would bring her to family gatherings. And I hadn't seen her for years because she lived in Phoenix with my grandma, who was her caretaker. And I mean, just the limited amount I saw the effects of that disease. It's got to be one of the hardest, especially for, I mean, your guys' circumstance where you have five siblings, or 4 in your case, siblings, and just all the different dynamics. Because I think Isaac was in college at that time, right?
Yeah.
And you're the second oldest, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went off to college, and I feel so bad for the youngest 3, because Isaac and I got to have a little bit of that, like, fun, loving dad. Like, we got to experience our dad, and they didn't. Like, so
like high school games and just sleepovers and fun, like, family memories.
Yeah, family trips, stuff like that. And I don't know, the youngest, Sarah, I think probably got to experience that a little more than the younger 2. And I wouldn't say that the younger 2 didn't experience any of it, but yeah, it's just too bad.
So in the wake of him passing away, Jenny stepped up and took the reins at the business, right? So let's talk about that. She was a radiologist.
Yes.
And now she has to run a welding and manufacturing business.
Yes.
What went into that decision for her?
Honestly, we've talked about this, and she's like, I don't know. I was losing my mind. Like, I don't even remember those years hardly. Like, she was just in the thick of it, trying to survive. She was like, and at the time, looking back, maybe I should have sold it. Maybe I should have, like, gotten rid of all of that stress and just sold it. But I didn't know how to sell a business. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, okay, Ben's gone. We've got him in the nursing home. Let's figure this out. She had started working as, like, a secretary. So she popped out the first 3 kids, and then after the 3rd one, decided to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. And she would work x-ray occasionally. And then the second 2 came along, and she started to go back to radiology a little bit, but then she also started to work at the shop as we got older. So she had, like, been around the shop just a little bit, but she doesn't know anything about metal.
Sure.
But yeah, so when my dad passed away, she just jumped into it, and yeah. I would say I know how she was at the time, and today she's a completely different person. Because at that time, she was just, like, trying so hard. So I think she went into the business wanting to make a ton of changes. She wanted, like, things to be cleaned up and da-da-da. And you have these redneck guys that are used to, like, spitting on the floor, and they're like, what, we can't chew anymore? And she's like, no, you can chew, just, like, spit in a bottle or spit in the trash can, and, like, just little stuff like that, which is so, like, dumb. But she ran into a lot of resistance with the staff. And I think, especially being a woman in, like, a male-dominated industry, also with, like, those country folks sometimes can be a little, they don't want a lady telling you what to do. So I think she struggled with some of that in the beginning, and then just kept going with it. She has done an amazing job. Like, she's one of my biggest idols. So.
Sure. And she's been rolling with the business now for what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Ish, around there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say this is dating me, but it's my 10-year high school reunion this year.
Oh, man,
so we're
that
doing
means
that.
Mine is next year.
Yes. So that was about that time that I left for college. So that's interesting. So she took over the business.
Yep.
And then at what point did you come on board to help? And then what did you help them with when you joined the family business?
Yeah. So I came on, I think it's 4 years ago, maybe. What year is it? 23. So no. 18 or 19. I think 19.
Mm-hmm. Pre-pandemic then.
So what's 19? Math.
2019?
Yeah, 4 years
4
ago.
years, yep.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, you came on board.
Yep. So I came on board as like the marketing gal. So I made the website, did all that stuff, salesy stuff, yada, yada. And then I actually ended up being more of like our operations manager, because I would just notice that projects were not going how they should be. There wasn't even a schedule. Like, there was just things that I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, we can't function like this. And there's no point of me marketing this business if we can't meet the needs of our customers. So like, we got to fix some things. So I actually kind of like, I don't know, just interjected myself into being kind of like the scheduler, project manager. And so I've actually been doing that position longer than I have the marketing role, which I still update the website and do that kind of stuff. But
that's super interesting.
Yeah.
So I think in going through that too, it's like you could have went to work for another company.
Mm-hmm.
What made you make the decision to come back and work for the family business as compared to going off and doing something different?
Honestly, I just wanted my mom to be okay, and I just saw her struggle for a really long time. And again, I think once you grow up, you just, you become an adult and you realize how hard it is. And I just realized how much she gave to us. So I just wanted to give something back to her and just be there for her and help her. And I just didn't want her to be alone anymore. So she was definitely the main reason I started, even though I said like, okay, Mom, if I'm going to start here, like, I don't want us to hate each other. Like, which is funny because I would say that the business has brought us so much closer than we have ever been. Like, I don't know, we just have the best time. We laugh a lot. And working together, it's not like we're talking to each other. Okay, wait a minute. We talk to each other every day, all the time. But we're not like right next to each other, working alongside each other, even though we are working alongside each other. But it's kind of from afar because she does more of like the sales side of things. So
Sure.
Yeah.
How do you think Ben would feel looking down at how you guys have managed the business since he's been gone?
I bet he would say, wow, girls, you made some mistakes. But also he would be so proud of my mom. Like, I have so much respect for her. She has so much resilience to just like keep going. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think when your back's against the wall, that's when you really find out what you're made of.
Yeah.
And I think you create that scenario outside of a real world. Like if it's like, oh, just put a timeline on something, or put yourself in physical stress, like run a marathon or do as many push-ups as you can until you fall asleep or something.
Yeah.
But when life smacks you in the face, I think that's really the wake-up call. Because like you said, she could have sold it. She could have brought in another operator and still owned it.
Yeah.
And but she just rolled her sleeves up and said, we're doing this. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And she's always been that kind of person, to a fault sometimes. Like, she just wants to do it herself, whereas, like, she's gotten better about it. But I'm like, okay, just call the plumber, Like, they learned about how to fix the toilet, so just call them. So, yeah, I think she initially made a lot of mistakes just trying to do everything herself, and then learned to just maybe delegate a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So around 2020, you guys were trying to figure out how can we make another revenue stream, kind of scratch this little itch. Tell me about Subtle Impacts and how that started.
Yes. So, like I said, I was in the marketing side of things. And so, we're talking about, okay, what else could we do that's maybe not so much a service-based, like, why don't we have our own product? And so I was just looking around my room, the stores for weeks of like, okay, what is made out of metal? What could we make? Everything's really hard to compete with China and pricing. So I was just looking around my bedroom and I saw my weights on the floor and I was like, okay, well, maybe we could make weights. Like those are metal and I like fitness, so maybe that. And then I just kind of sat with it a little bit like, okay, well, what could we do different? Like there's a million weights out there already. Like, well, it'd be nice if they like weren't ugly like that. Like I don't really like that clutter in my space. Oh, well, maybe I could make them look cute. So then I just started doodling. And I was really nervous to present it to my mom, which is so dumb because she was so like excited about it. But like, okay, so imagine this. Like you know how like sometimes you hide your dumbbells because you don't want the clutter of them. Imagine if they were just there, like on your coffee table. You picked them up, you did your workout, and then you set them back down, and then they were a decor piece. So your space looks nice.
What was her first reaction?
She was like, oh, wait a minute. So so they would be decor. Like they're a decor piece, but then you're working out with it. Like, okay, but like what? How would that work? Like, how are you supposed to hold that? So I showed her my little doodles, which this is like kind of similar to a kettlebell, obviously different. And then we have some dumbbells and then also like a kettlebell kind of shape that's a little different. But yeah.
This is super cool, though. And, like, if I saw this on a coffee table in someone's living room, I would just assume it's, like, a vase or a decor piece or just a pretty thing. And then you pick it up and you're like, holy shit, this thing's got some weight to it.
Yeah.
Good way to defend the home, too. A little home defense backup. Like, you can hit somebody with
my
it.
mom says that all the time. She's like, you need to market that more. I'm like, I know. Yeah,
you push a button and spikes come out the side and you can, like, back off, like, get somebody away from you.
Which, honestly, it's a real thing, though. Like, if you were a single gal living in your apartment and like, I don't know, it's scary out there in the world. So yeah, you don't even need a bat. You have this weight and you just whack somebody with it.
I love it. So when you guys launched Subtle Impacts, it was with this one product. Mm-hmm. What was the initial reaction from people when you took it to the marketplace?
Everybody was super excited. And we talked to a lot of people in the beginning before we went into this. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. So we struggled a lot with how we wanted to price the pieces and we still kind of struggle with that a little bit. I wanted them to be more of like super cheap and everybody can buy them. And my mom was more like, no, they need to go like super high end. They're super high end pieces, which I agree. And it does cost a lot to make them. Like they are made in the US. There's a lot of processes that
you make them in Pilot Grove, right?
So, yeah, that's the funny part. We actually don't make them at the shop.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So these are cast iron foundry pieces, which we don't have, like, that's where you, like, melt the metal, pour it in. We don't have that at the shop.
Sure. But they are made in the U.S., right?
They are made in the U.S. They're actually made in Iowa, so that's cool, too.
Very cool.
Yeah. Another cool thing. My dad actually made dumbbells at the shop though, like way back, and I didn't know about this. And my mom was like, "Do you know that like your dad made like he dabbled with like making weights too?" And I was like, "What?" So, it's really cool to like, I don't know, kind of carry on his legacy in that way, even though it's different. But yeah.
That is super awesome. So you launch it. You're debating the price point.
Yep.
Where'd you guys settle? Is it more of a high end? Is it more of a lower end? Where'd you guys settle on that?
In the middle. So we kind of think like Lululemon. Like it's more expensive, but it's not totally out of reach for somebody that's maybe more so average, however you want to phrase that.
Sure. So it's one of those, I always call it like it kind of hurts when you buy it, but it's not to the point where like you have to take out a second mortgage on the house to get it.
Yeah.
Because I think that's, especially with Lulu's marketing, so many people have said, man, if their prices were lower, I'd shop. Like, everyone would shop there, but it's like that's part of the desire is that if everyone could buy it, then there's no exclusivity. Right. And then people don't feel like, they're elevated. Where same thing with this. It's like anyone could go buy a regular pair of dumbbells from Target and be like, well, but this isn't just a regular weight. So that's really cool.
And we honestly couldn't price them at the same cost of a regular weight because we're not getting them from China. Sure. They are a more quality piece in my opinion, so they do cost just a little bit more. Sure.
So what's the vision for this product line? Because you guys aren't just going to be making decorative weights, right? The business is more, it's home and health, right? It's kind of a combination.
Yes. So my long-term goal, I would love to, so I actually just got my fitness certification. So I would love to have, you go to our website, you can shop our weights, but you can also work with a fitness instructor. You can pick one, and then you can also hire your different interior decorator, designer.
Okay.
So when you come to our platform, it's all things health and home. You can have that home service or the health service, and then you can shop our weights.
I love that because I think that's the uniqueness of your guys' brand compared to if you just went on the health side. It's oh, we're just a fitness company or we're just a home decor West Elm type company. It's we are a combination of both, which is really cool because I think, and especially in the female market, it's people want a really impressive living room when people come in. It's oh, this looks so great, but they also want to take care of themselves. So I think that aligns well with that, to your point, the Lululemon type customer, where it's they want to take care of themselves. They also want to present a nice home when people come over.
Yeah. And I really do. So I definitely didn't want this product to be oh, buy this and you'll lose 20 pounds. No. This is supposed to symbolize balance in your life also. So there's going to be phases where your husband is dying and working out is maybe not the priority in your life. That's okay. Mm-hmm. There are times where you just had a baby. You're not trying to go crazy with working out. But when maybe it's a year later and you're ready to get back into it, oh, you hit a snag. I don't know.
And now the dumbbells aren't buried in storage closet somewhere. Yeah. They've been sitting in your living room the whole time, and you can literally just, I'm going to start working out again. And you just pick it up and go.
Yeah. Having it right in front of you, I don't know about you, but if something's not in front of me, I forget that it even exists. So for me with I don't know, my brain, I need things there. So I remember, oh yeah, I do have that.
Sure. When I think of especially, people, you see these outrageous prices in New York for apartments and stuff. Yeah. They don't have a lot of square footage in those really crammed apartments. So this is it solves that problem too. You don't have to like you said, hide the weights when people come over or fold your treadmill up and put it in a storage closet. You can do it all. Yeah. So that's super awesome.
And like you said, with the hiding stuff, I don't know about you, but I have definitely purchased fitness equipment that I used for I don't know, 3 months, and then I never touched it ever again. So even if you never use it as a weight again, you can always use it as a decor piece, and you don't have to feel bad about it.
Sure. Well, and it's funny because so Paige and I are going through this where she is paused. She has a yoga membership, but she paused it because she's been just sicker than a dog with our second. And so she's I can't even go. Well, whatever. She's trying to convince me we need to buy a treadmill. I'm you don't understand. These are $5,000. Just get a gym membership and you can use the treadmill and everything else in the gym. Yeah. And she's well, to your point, if it's not in front of me, I won't think to go, or then I have to be motivated to go. I'd rather just do it at home. Mm-hmm. But I'm but because I'm okay, I have a CrossFit membership and that's over $100 a month. And she's that's so expensive. I'm you want to drop 5 racks on a freaking treadmill you might not even use. I'm it's all perception.
Tell her to get one from Facebook Marketplace. And then if she uses it for a whole year, then she can get the fancy one.
Sure.
Because I got one from my uncle. Actually, don't tell him this, or hopefully he doesn't listen to this. But I literally got that 2 months ago. And then I gave it to a girl that... Anyway, because it was messing with the feng shui of my space.
Right.
I did not like it. And I don't have, my house isn't tiny, but it's not huge. I don't have I don't have space to have like a whole gym set up in my house. So.
Sure. Yeah, and my stepdad, he has a treadmill and an elliptical in his dining room. So it's like there's just no like that's a coat rack now. So it's like you got to have a room or something.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. It's the convenience factor, right?
Yeah.
You got to make fitness convenient.
Yeah.
And that it's just you can I got 20 minutes, I can go do a quick workout. So
yeah.
Is the online learning stuff, do you see yourself monetizing that long term, or is it just going to be like free YouTube videos to help spread the brand?
I would like to come out with an app one day and like so have a few foundational, I think I have 8 right now, but to have like 20 solid YouTube videos, so if somebody just purchased, they can go and like kind of feel out some of those workouts and then have an app for like programs.
Sure. Because I look at like, I just shot for a fitness supply company, push pedal pull yesterday. So they supply like gyms with gym equipment. If you want to buy a brand new treadmill or a new weight stack or a combo rack for your garage or something, you can go in there. And it's interesting because they said like the Peloton bike compared to like a Schwinn Airdyne or something like a normal bike, just by simply having a TV on it, like a screen, and having like professionally shot high energy instructional videos, those things sell like crazy. And again, they're going for that higher echelon layer of a customer and they're more expensive, but people want to be engaged and entertained when they work out. So I think that's an interesting way to go. You're not just, here's this weight that might be
good luck.
Figure it out. If you truly stand by the values of like providing a good health and home, like you'll give them the stepping stones to get them in a better place to succeed and maybe buy more product or like your brand more.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Awesome. So I think it's interesting. We talked about obviously your dad passing away and the ripple effect on some of those things. Let's talk a little bit about more on your personal side. When you were coming up in the business, you were married previously.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about how when you transitioned into like through your divorce and stuff, how that impacted your career, and then also just like your outlook on like the business and kind of the future and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I will say thank God I was working at the family business when I was going through that, because I honestly don't know how people go through that working a regular job. I will say like my divorce was worse than losing my dad. And I don't mean that in like losing that person was worse than losing my dad. I just mean like, I think with my dad too, I had time to like mentally prepare that he was going to be gone because of his disease. But yeah, it was just so emotionally taxing. Yeah, and it was, I wouldn't say that the divorce was super messy because I didn't want it to be that way. And I kind of said like, okay, so we only have so much in savings. If we want to make this messy, all it's going to do is drain both of our bank accounts. So like, why don't we just cut ties with how it was? And yeah, I am so thankful that I had my mom during that time because there was a lot of things that I hid from my family and my friends for years because I wasn't ready to come to terms with what was actually going on. And a lot of it was emotional. And then eventually it became a little physical. And that's where finally I had got some self-respect, and I think the first step was just telling somebody about it. If I could give any advice to anybody who is going through a toxic situation, is to just talk to somebody about it. When you do it alone, you really just, it's so much harder to get out of it, and you kind of like tell yourself that it's different than what it is. So yeah, I would think that was in February of 2018, there was an incident that really flipped a switch for me of like, okay, I don't want to raise kids with this kind of person. And I put a lot of, he grew up very differently than I did. I mean, I was even though I did lose my dad, we did grow up very privileged. We had a very nice life. We always had food on the table. And so I just made a lot of excuses for behavior. So I told my mom about the situation. And she was super, first she was pissed. She was like, oh my God, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, I could see Jenny saying that.
Like, what?
Jenny's like, get in the car. Get some kind of sharp object.
She was like, Rachel, what? And then I started telling her some of the other situations. When I was in college, he got gonorrhea, and it was somehow somebody that I had slept with 3 years ago that's why that came up. And just, I don't know, when you say it out loud, it's just really unbelievable that you ever let somebody convince you something else. And I don't know, but she was just super understanding and empathetic with the fact that I still I wasn't ready to let go yet, even though I know that I needed to. I wasn't ready. So I would say we went to therapy for a couple months, and that really helped clarify that, like, okay, this is not gonna change. And we're going through therapy, and our therapist said, okay, like, you guys need to plan a date and do the date. So I'm doing photography on the side, right? So the date was supposed to be Saturday morning. I have a session at 5, so I was like, okay, like, we can do something during the day, though. He said, perfect, like, don't worry about it. I have a huge thing planned, like, whatever. So I wake up, and he's not there. I'm like, okay, like, maybe he's getting whatever ready. I was, like, giddy excited. And he didn't text me until, like, 2 in the afternoon and was like, oh, I'm sorry, my stepdad got a hold of me and needed some help. I was like, okay. He's like, well, we can still, like, hang out later, though. I'm like, well, I have that photography session, so whatever. And after that, I decided I was going to go to my mom's. I was just upset, whatever. So I tell him, I'm going to go to my mom's. I go to my mom's. And on the way to my mom's, he called me and was like, hey, so actually, I didn't help my stepdad this morning. I was golfing. And I was like, okay. So I was shocked that he told me that. And then when I got to my house, I realized, so John Nagel and Isaac, older brother Isaac, were at home, and they had been golfing, and they saw him. So he knew that I was going to find out.
Gotcha.
So that's why he told me.
Sure.
So yeah, and I, like, said that situation, and she there was just a lot of situations like that, of the line. My sister and I went on a walk one time, and he said that he got called into work, so he went to work, and I see that his car is at a friend's house. I'm like, okay, like, and I called him, and I was just crying. I'm like, I don't understand why you feel like you have to lie to me. Like, I have always tried to be super, like, yeah, like, you need your guy time, like, go do that. So, like, why the line? So I'm crying about that, and somehow it's flipped on me. Whatever. Name calling. So my sister grabs the phone and was like, how dare you call her the B word when all she's, like, she just wants to know, like, what are you doing? So, and then he called her a few names. And then that was also, like, another wake-up call of, like, okay, you don't talk to my family that way, which is terrible to think, like, you can talk to me however you want.
yeah, but you're talking about my sister that way.
Yeah. So just a few eye-opening moments, I think. And then, yeah, when things got physical, and it wasn't, I don't want to downplay the physical, because no physical is okay. It wasn't like punched in the face, black eye. It was grabbing my face, slamming me down, screaming over and over again. I was really scared. when somebody's on top of you, grabbing your face, slamming you down, I don't know. You don't know what they're going to do next. And I just thought, like, in that moment, I want to see tomorrow. Like, I don't want to, I'm not ready to go, which, like, again, I'm not saying that he was going to kill me or anything, but I don't know. It's just scary. When somebody who is way stronger than you is just controlling you, and yeah. So, so in those months of trying to figure out if I should stay in this relationship or not, my mom was very like, and there would be days at work where like, so my office was upstairs, thank God. And there were days where I was just crying while typing, like just sobbing. And I was able to do that because, I worked for the family business. So I can just let it all out and type away. So yeah, and she would be just there for me, no matter what. And then literally one day I woke up and I said, fuck this. Like, fuck this. I'm not doing this anymore. Fuck it. And I mean, maybe that's not, yeah.
So at that point you were just like, I'm over this. And did you just like pick up and leave? Or
I
what?
literally woke up in the morning. So there was 3 times where I said like, okay, I'm ready. I want a divorce. Like, I want a divorce. And this 3rd time, and that was the morning I woke up and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. No. Like, I'm done. I'm just done. I don't deserve this, and this isn't good for either of us, so I'm done. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like I said, things were actually pretty smooth as far as, like, splitting things and da-da-da-da, except for, gosh, so I was trying to be nice about this whole thing, and our bank accounts were together, right, because we were married, and it has been 6 months after our divorce. I'm like, can you please get a new bank account so I can, like, be done with all of this stuff? So I would message him every 2 months, like, hey, have you gotten a new bank account yet? He just didn't want to because his work went into that, which I don't know why he wouldn't just
you can direct deposit elsewhere.
Well, yeah. Oh, my gosh. It would take 2 seconds to set up a new. I had to do it. I had to switch everything. I had to switch all the emails, license, like all of the things. So, yeah. Anyway, it was one of the times. Hold on. Going back to my thought. Oh, so again, this has been like 8 months after our divorce, and like every 2 months, I'm like, hey, can you do that? And then I just said, okay, I am one more time reaching out, and then I'm just going to close it myself. So I reached out one more time, like, hey, and his response was like, would you get off my back? Like, why do you have to be such a name calling? And I was like, okay, well, like, that's the last time you will ever call me a name to my voice, my face, to me. So I cut him off, and I just was rebirthed into myself again. I know that sounds silly, but like I felt like I started to become my old self, but like a newer version of that in the best way ever. And I didn't realize how much stress that relationship was holding me back, putting on me. Yeah.
Well, and I can only imagine, too, if Ben was around when that was happening, if he'd have gotten wind of some verbal, physical, any kind of abuse, I can only imagine grab all the brothers and get in the truck. We're going to take care of this. So I can imagine what he would have said or done. So.
Yeah.
So in terms of exiting that relationship, shedding that, like you said, the coat of stress and getting on with the rest of like life and stuff, how do you think going through a trauma like that has made you the person you are today? That you're we are the sum of all the experiences we've had in life, good, bad, and ugly, everything. So how do you think that's helped you move on in life and become the person you are today?
I think that it has given me a lot of strength and confidence of there's something about just like finally telling somebody no, like that is not acceptable for my life. That's fine if you want to live that way or be that way, but like setting those boundaries for yourself has allowed me to just have more energy in general. So I feel like I am just more energetic and more positive. I've found that like I hang out with my friends a lot more. I do things that I want to do a lot more. And not to say that like he said that I couldn't do things, but like I just really decided I want to be very intentional with my life and I want to live my life how I want to.
Right.
I don't know.
No, I love that. I think we can kind of pop out just to give you an emotional break for a second about all those things. I would love to kind of switch gears and talk a little bit about the marketing side of Subtle, because you guys have been kicking butt on that stuff. I mean, you had like some viral TikToks pop off and stuff. So tell me a little bit about how you tried to market a product like this.
Yes. So in the beginning, it was super fun. We like launched, people bought some. It was fun. It was exciting. And then we ran out of product. So that has been fun. And we not only ran out of product, but our original suppliers, their price doubled. So it was already expensive to produce this, let alone produce it with like double the cost. So we took a step back and we're like, okay, what else can we do to like make the product better? Like I told you, we're going with more of like a textured finish for grip. Still a nice look. But yeah, as far as marketing it goes, so we launched in 2019, and then it's been 2 years of like shopping for another supplier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So a lot of the marketing, I stopped marketing the product and I just talked about home decor stuff. And that's kind of where my TikTok following grew from, of just like talking about how you can make your space better, that kind of thing. So, because I still wanted to give value to people and like still make the brand present and not just stop completely. But to an extent, we kind of did stop. Mm-hmm. A little bit. And we're actually still kind of paused a little bit. We do have, I think, like 20 in stock. But yeah, we'll get another shipment in September.
Wow, I've got my exclusive.
Yes.
I'm like low inventory. I'm like, I should like put this in a cast iron something so I don't lose it, lock it up somewhere so someone can take it from me. So
yeah. Post-divorce, I am working at the shop, getting my life together. I'm doing photography, and I start... What's the best thing to do when you're going through stuff? Just stay really busy. So I just like loaded up on photography sessions, which kind of bit me in the ass a little bit later because I had so many weddings last year that so I had my day job, and then I have all these weddings to do. So I really didn't have a lot of time to work on subtle impacts, which was okay because we haven't had the inventory. So it kind of worked out that way. But yeah, I didn't want to be on pause. So yeah, that is kind of the frustrating side of business. I mean, you think things are going to go one way and then it's like, oh no, just kidding. You have to wait. The waiting is...
yeah, just like gut wrench. Like, oh man, I want to keep going. Yeah, I totally get that.
And then on the marketing side of things, I've been happy with like I've had some success from TikTok, I would say. But since we haven't had the product, financially, I've been struggling with, okay, how else can we make money? Which I talked about earlier of like the fitness, I just got certified. And then the home, I am actually taking interior decorating coursework also. So I'll have both of those certifications to kind of springboard maybe some more services. But yeah, it has been hard to grow. It has also been hard to know where I should be growing, because I would think that this product is more so like millennial, people that are maybe a little later on in their careers. They have a little more discretionary funding. But sometimes I don't know where they are. I don't know what they want to see. I've also really struggled with, I want to market this to people that live in an apartment or a condo in a city, and I don't live in an apartment or a condo or in a city. So that has been super discouraging for me, and frustrating, because I don't know how to create that content, and I don't necessarily have the budget to just go live in New York City or hire influencers in New York City.
Or become the ideal product market fit, right?
Yeah.
Like you feel like you have to be the customer to fully understand that.
And also, so another thing I really do struggle with is I actually had an eating disorder for a long time. It started when I was 16. And was pretty heavy during college, and I would say that I'm pretty good now, but sometimes this does bring up internal struggles of, like I said, I don't want our brand to be about losing weight, and I've finally gotten to a happy place with my body image, but sometimes when you're following a lot of fitness content, you see a lot of super fit people, and I have to constantly remind myself okay, I want to be pretty fit, but not jacked, and I want to eat out with my friends, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it. When I've seen that shift in your guys' marketing too, just the being okay with who you are, comfortability wise, and the making it more what would I even call it? Approachable, but also authentic. You're not, like you said, you're not trying to be Muscle and Fitness magazine and put up this front that everything's perfect. It's everyone that's trying to get better at home and health, everyone has a way to get better, but it's they meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what's it been like working on not only the family business, but also this new brand with your mom? Because we've talked about, obviously, you guys have both gone through hell and back individually and now together. What's that been like in your family dynamic?
Yeah, so we definitely got super close doing the family business together. Talking about employees together, talking about ideas together. She's a very visionary dreamer person. So am I. So it's fun to collaborate with somebody who has outrageous ideas. We were talking about, we should put the world's largest giant corn shuck just on the corner of the shop, because why not? We could do whatever we want. Mm-hmm. Guerrilla marketing, whatever.
Love it.
So it's been fun to just joke around and collaborate together. And Subtle has brought, we've shed some tears and and with the shop too, lots of tears and nights of, okay, we just need to go on a walk. We gotta get out of here. We gotta stop doing this.
Do you guys ever put barriers in place so you're only doing family time when
yes,
at Christmas? Are you guys sitting around scheming your next marketing plan, or do you guys sit and just eat the damn turkey?
So literally, it was my sister's son's second birthday this last Tuesday, and we rode together because I live on the way to Sarah's house. Mm-hmm. So we sat outside for 15 minutes, in the car, talking, opened the door, and then we're okay, wait, one more thing. Then we get back in the car. So we're talking for a half an hour before we go inside, because we really do try not to talk about work around family, because we know it's annoying. So, we try to cut it from, basically, if we're around other people, we try to not talk about work.
Sure. No, I love that. And it's interesting too, because with myself, I own my own business, but I don't have any employees or coworkers. So it's all just in between my ears all the time. So then half the time Paige is can you just stop talking about work? I'm I don't have anybody to talk to about this. So it's
I was gonna say, that's gotta be so lonely. And that is something that sometimes I do feel a little alone with Subtle, because my mom is my little cheerleader, but she's not doing the videos. She's not editing them. She's not like coming up with the plan. She's not the one spearheading everything. So yeah, it is lonely when you're just like doing a business by yourself. And like, yeah, you'll have people that you work with projects on and do stuff with, but like a lot of the days you're just like, yep, it's just me trying to figure it out.
Sure. No, and it's interesting too, just because I've popped into the business every once in a while to touch base and see how things, and it's been interesting to see you guys be okay with it. I mean, you're obviously like chomping at the bit to be ready to be back out there, but it's not your classic like we quit everything and we're going all in. It's more of like a passion project at this point, and it's cool to see because there is a runway for growth and success down the road. Like you said, you guys had a provider that does the cast iron stuff, and that once you find the next manufacturer, like if you guys blew it out of the water and had orders rolling out of the computer and down the hallway, you could potentially fill those and really blow it up. So.
Yeah. And so we went to New York actually because do you remember Madison Cardenas?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
okay. So friend got married in New York, so I was like, okay, Mom, hear me out. What if we just went to New York?
Let's go to Fifth Avenue. Let's buy some shit.
Like, what if we went to New York and like brought the weights and and just like talk to people in New York. So we did. That was like 3 weeks ago. I haven't posted anything about it because I wanted to surprise Madison with her appearance. So I didn't post about the fact that we were in New York all week. But yeah, we went to like all the bougie places that I didn't even know existed. And I just took my little tablet and showed them the weights and stuff. And they were like, oh my gosh, like, so I'm really excited to get the product out there. I'm just like painfully, but then I'm also super nervous that like, okay, well, what if we put it out there and it doesn't, like all the things that we think people in New York, Chicago, Florida, California will love this. Like everybody should love this. Hello. But what if they don't?
Right. Well, and I think you guys have sold out almost everything, right? So there's it's not like you had this idea and you just made a bunch of product and then it's been sitting on a shelf ever since. So you have some proof that this is something people would buy. Yeah.
I am super excited to get them up on Amazon too. So not funny story. This was a mistake. I put things up. I put 2 of these up on Amazon. I guess not these ones. They were the dumbbells. But I put 2 products up on Amazon. They sold. Yay. Well, I didn't know at the time that you had to ship within 2 days. And usually how it was before, this is way back when, my uncle was making these like cardboard boxes. So I would be like, hey, we got an order. Can you make it? And then he would get it in the next couple days. So we would ship between like 4 to 5 days. Well, I didn't know that. So I tried to package it myself and put it in this cardboard. I don't know how to package stuff. I'm terrible at it. It's not my thing. So, of course, they arrived damaged, and then they returned them. They didn't write any bad reviews, thank God, but yeah.
Quite the experience just to get it there. And there's so much more that goes behind the scenes. Like, you guys are in a service business, but now you're going in the product business. It's like a whole different slew.
Yeah.
Being 2 people that did not come from entrepreneurship or thinking that was going to be their career paths, what's been like the biggest lesson you've learned just from running, or helping run 2 family businesses now with your mom?
It's hard. It's really, really, really hard. And there's a lot of rewards from it, but it is really hard. Like, I just feel like people think they see something and they're like, oh, or like they see the nice videos, the nice photos, and they're like, I don't know, we just expect so much from companies. And sometimes it's like, you don't know how big a company is. And maybe like you don't know that they are small. Like they don't have all of the stuff. They don't have all of the tech that like the customer service things of just on the website, like those little reply things. I'm like, everything takes so much time to learn how to do. Like, I mean, to do the website, to talk to customers, to figure out all of the things. And then it's like, you have to have this product up on Amazon, on your website, Etsy, managing all of that inventory on each of those sites. Now there's TikTok shop. Okay, trying to figure that out.
Like
there's just always something, which is exciting and fun. It is super fun, but it is also really hard.
Sure. No, I think that's really interesting. Any advice to female founders, people that are coming into business that have an interest or an idea, and they have this interest in the idea, but they, like you said, don't have the business acumen? What advice would you give to a gal out there that's wanting to really go in all on herself and start a business?
Yeah. Talk to as many business owners, role models that you can find. You would be surprised. There are a lot of people that are willing to talk to you that you didn't think that they would. Like, oh, they're probably super busy. No. Like, they want to give advice. And I have learned so much and have avoided a lot of mistakes from people just giving their advice and their experiences. And if you don't have access to those people or feel like you don't have the access, YouTube is amazing.
Sure. That's how I learned to shoot videos. YouTube for free.
Yeah. So like literally whatever you want to know, just YouTube it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So if you want to know how to start a business, YouTube it. Yeah.
That's great. So for wrapping this all up here, where can people find you? Where's the best place to learn more about Subtle Impacts as well?
Yeah. So we are on all the things: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest. Yeah. subtleimpacts.com.
Love it. Well, Rachel, thanks so much for being on the podcast and being vulnerable and open about some of the hardships you've gone through. I'm sure somebody listening has gained some insight or has grown just from listening to this conversation. So really excited that you came on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, there you go, guys. Another episode of the Rhymes with Odd podcast. My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.